Hello and welcome to this workshop on authentic content marketing. So if I had a reader ask me a question the other day, it's like, what's the one thing that that I can do to build my audience and have them remember me? And my first thought that came to mind is if you are willing and able to create content in an authentic way that's relevant to people and you do it on a consistent basis, consistency equals reliability in your audience's mind when it comes to content. If you're not consistent with your content, you appear unreliable, and you actually are unreliable when it comes to content. It's not an appearance, it's the reality, right? When it comes to your online presence. So if you're willing and able to create authentic content, that when I say authentic, I mean you show up as who you are without trying to put on an image. We are not faking it till we make it. I think that's been terrible advice, shared for decades. I should say, yes, fake it till you make it, such a general piece of advice that you could apply it mindfully and wisely in certain instances. But when it comes to content, don't fake it till you make it. Okay, don't try to put on an image of who you're not. So much of the marketing experts out there, name one, anybody, just about puts on an image, right? It's like, oh, they look so professional and look so amazing, but when you actually have one-on-one conversations with them, they're not like that. Hopefully, I can be a different model of that. I try to be as authentic as I can. Authentic to my higher self, but not authentic to some polished version of myself. So that's the key. Not polished, but virtuous. Meaning, when I say authentic, I don't mean, be all vulnerable to the point of like dragging everybody down. Because you have several authentic selves, right? You have an authentic self that's your higher self that is trying to pull everybody up and trying to pull yourself up. And you have an authentic self also that's depressed and demoralized and can pull you and everybody else down. Both are authentic. Well, which one do you choose? So choose the virtuous authentic self, but not the polished one. So that's the way I like to think of it. And authentic also means that you are willing to say things that some people in the world might find offensive or they disagree with. But if you truly believe it to be important for your ideal client to know and understand and to believe that you believe, then being authentic means that you share your truth. And then relevant means you are answering questions. Your content is answering questions from your ideal clients. Okay, authentic is not enough to build a business. That's called a hobby. You can be authentic all you want. You have a hobby. But when you then combine that with relevance, meaning, okay, what are you all wanting to learn in my area of expertise? If I come to understand that by conversations with you, or by watching what you're asking about in certain Facebook groups, or by noticing the stuff I put out there that is particularly interesting to you, and to see what you share on your Facebook timeline. Oh, you kind of share this kind of stuff. How can I speak in your language? How can I address the things that you want me to address? That's relevance. And you combine that with authenticity, and that's a recipe for success when it comes to your presence in your business, online and offline. And of course, the third piece is consistent. As I've already mentioned, consistency equals reliability and trustworthiness for yourself and for your audience. And consistency also is incredibly important for your own professional development. If you are not consistent with your content, you are going to second guess yourself all the time, and you're not going to grow as fast as you possibly can. And if you are consistent with your content, you'll find yourself growing consistently as well. Your own professional self, your knowledge, your expertise, and of course, your audience as well. So, all right. Yes, and thanks for those of you who are here live that are taking notes on whatever is interesting for you, kind of reiterating the ideas. I really appreciate it. Those who are watching the recording, you'll be able to get a link to the entire chat transcript so you can see what some of the ideas are coming through and who's been particularly helpful. So thank you so much. So now I want to ask you a question. Why is it important for you to create content? I mean, you're here on this workshop because somehow creating content is important for you. Why is that? I'm going to give you a couple moments to type that into the chat. And if you're watching the recording, type that in the comments below, and then we will continue. Thanks everyone who commented here. So many, and I just want to call out a few of them. Franziska says to know my people and stay in touch. Zuzka wrote to make a change. And that's actually an interesting idea. When you create content, you make a change in others. You create a ripple in the mind and heart of other people, but you also make a change in yourself. And I was just talking with with a client earlier today, actually. We were talking about content, and I said, your content is actually 60% for you, 40% for your audience. People are like, what? I thought content was about selling my products and services. George, I thought consistent content means so that I could be top of mind for my clients and customers and they'll remember to buy from me, my product. Yes, that's 40%. If you came to realize that the true benefit and impact of your content is really 60% for you, it's kind of like when you help somebody else at the end of your life, perhaps in the next life or the life review, you'll realize that when you help somebody else, you are blessed more than that other person. The same thing with content. And thankfully, you'll be able to see this in this life and really in the next few months of creating content. You will grow so much faster by being willing to create content and doing it than if you say, well, I'm going to learn until I get good enough to create it. Okay? That is the biggest trap of content. I am not good enough yet. That's number one trap. Number two trap is I have too many interests. Okay? So let me address this. I am not good enough yet. In whose standard? In God's? You want to be like God? Want to be the perfect, being in the entire world, and then you create content? You'll never get there. I mean, that's one truth. The other truth is you are already perfect, and whatever you say now is a perfect snapshot of your current state of experience, of wisdom, and the fact is it's going to benefit and bless somebody who is slightly, 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 steps before you. You are here and you think I'm not good enough because you see all the people who are ahead of you, right? But when you zoom out, you realize, oh, you're actually here when there are 10 billion people, or not 10 billion, there are 1 billion people behind you in your area of expertise. And yes, there may be 1 billion people ahead of you, but you are somewhere in the middle. And if you don't create content, you can't help that 1 billion people who are in front before you. Okay. Also, one of the common questions is, well, George, if I create a lot of content, won't people get satiated and won't buy my paid content as a result? Well, you are here, right? You do know that everything I'm saying has already been put in my videos for free. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you want a refund, please let me know. But everything I'm telling you is already in my videos. If you were willing to dig through my hundreds of videos and figure out which ones they are and read my book and all that stuff, it's all there. But people will pay for your content because you took the time to put it together in an organized step-by-step way. And of course, as you know, based on what I'm doing now with these online workshops, also they want an experience of you and they want an experience of one another too. So if you can create some kind of online experience or offline experience is even better. But I'm honestly, I don't have enough energy to create offline experiences, in-person experiences. I only have enough energy to create online experiences. So that's what I do. Much easier to fill an online room than an offline room in my experience. So, the irony is the more content you create, the more people want an experience of you live and are happy to pay for it and will buy your book and will buy your do-it-yourself course. This is the magic of it. Okay. So, and the other great thing is the more content you create for free, the more stuff you can put together for your video course, because you just put a bunch of your free videos together in a course and please, add a couple more. But even if you just organize them into an order, people will pay for that. They might discover that you've got these courses for free, or videos for free online, but they're not. No one has ever complained. In fact, I'll give you an example. No one has ever complained. I'll just say that. No one's ever complained that my workshops are so similar to my free videos. Also, no one's ever complained that my book was basically a compilation of my blog posts. Not one single person complained out of, the hundreds of purchases, maybe thousands by this point. But so don't worry about giving out too much free stuff. The problem is you're not giving out enough free stuff. That's why you may be struggling with getting enough of an audience and getting enough sales for your things, because you're not giving enough free stuff. So the other thing about free, I'll just say this, is that think of free. Okay, so this advice is a bit different from what you might hear out there. Sometimes if you research, what are the best blog posts out there? What's the number one strategy for blogs? And people will say, write 5,000 word blog posts, 3,000 word blog posts. You're supposed to write really in-depth stuff. And yes, I think that is a good long-term goal to get there, but I would not recommend it for anybody who is not an expert in content creation. Okay. If you don't consider yourself an expert like myself yet, do not create 3,000, 5,000 word blog posts. Okay. Create 500 to 1,000 word, 300 to 1,000 word blog posts. Create anywhere from a 2-minute video to a 15-minute video. Okay, now here's the key with free content. This is what I want you to do for the next couple of years until you become an expert, and then you can create that epic free content. Create white belt content. Imagine an Aikido, a martial arts dojo. And if you look at a popular white belt class in a martial arts dojo, you will notice something interesting. There are some black belts in that class. Why is that? The black belts are way advanced than the white belts. Why are they still in the white belt class? They're just learning how to put out your arm and do a punch, form a punch. Why is that? It's because the black belts are learning again from the sensei or from the facilitator. They are practicing the punch at a far more nuanced level. They understand what it means to do a punch powerfully and with groundedness and all that nuances that the white belts are just trying to figure out how to reach out their hand without hurting themselves. So create white belt content, because it will bless the white belts, and the black belts and everyone in between will find nuances in your white belt content that they appreciate. Does that make sense? Create white belt content, because that blesses everyone. So what does that mean? White belt content means, what is your philosophy? That's very white belt. It's not like, well, you've got to spend, the next 2 hours following these 12 steps and then you'll be healed or whatever. Okay. What's your philosophy? Tell us in, a few hundred words, or what's one part of your philosophy? Okay. What's something I can do, step 1, 2, 3, very quickly to solve a little problem that you know how to solve in your area of expertise? What is a case study or a story from your client work? Of course, keep your clients anonymous and make the story such that your clients aren't embarrassed by reading that if it's them. And you may, if it's something that's particularly embarrassing or revealing, you may want to ask your client, hey, do you mind if this was such a powerful experience that we had together, or what an amazing transformation that you had in our work. Do you mind if I share your story in an anonymous way? Most clients are going to say, well, yeah, if nobody knows who I am, why not? It's usually in our own heads that we get so scared. Oh, clients don't want us talking about them. Well, have you asked them? Have you asked them? Well, it's not appropriate to ask them. Okay, well, that may be the case. But I bet if you ask somebody, one of your clients, and say, hey, can I share your story anonymously? No, fine, no worries. Yeah, please. And if your work is not particularly vulnerable or something, people might say, yeah, you can even use my name or use my profession. I'm a lawyer. I worked with you and I got these results from my healing or whatever it may be. So share stories. That's white belt content. And the point of stories is not just to sell your services and products. The point of stories is to make it a teaching moment for your audience and to give hope that, oh, if it's possible for Jane, it may be possible for me too. Okay, so some examples of white belt content. And you're gonna notice as you go forward, starting today, you're gonna maybe have a clearer lens about content. And homework for you, start observing the content you consume. What is white belt and what is black belt? Typically, the black belt content is what I save for my workshops and for my book. Or I should say the middle of my book. The top of my book and the end of my book is typically very white belt, and it gets more black belt. I mean, my personal mission is to turn all my content into white belt at some point, meaning even the most advanced concepts I could talk about in such a white belt level that both white and black belts can benefit from it. That's my life mission, and eventually all my content is going to be free. But before I figure that out, my black belt content is in my paid workshops, and I recommend that for you as well. Does that make sense? So put your black belt stuff in your paid content, but maybe have a mission that eventually you'll learn how to chunk down even your black belt stuff into free. So you'll never run out of free content to share. You'll never run out of free content because you teach everything you know in the simplest way you can, the most consumable way you can, in white belt way. If you can't figure out how to do white belt yet, make it a paid content, make it a class, make it a book, so that you can talk to the people who are willing to spend the money and sit down and learn it. Okay? So, but eventually try to learn how to teach it in a way that's so simple everybody can understand. And like I said, even when everything you know is out there for free, even more people will want to buy your curated version in a course or a book, or hire you for your services or buy your products out of gratitude. That's another wonderful result from creating so much content out there. Is I have people who, some of you are here not necessarily because you really need the knowledge, or you might find it interesting, but you're here out of gratitude. Like, wow, I just want to support George financially. $45, fine. For doing all the stuff he's doing. And, I'll have something fun here and maybe something motivational, right? So, okay. So Jason says, how do I make a living without being trapped to one-to-one hours? Right. Great question. This is where, then let's go into the next thing I want to talk to you about, which is stage 1, 2, 3. Okay. Stage 1, 2, 3 content. All right. Stage 1 is anything you put out there for the first time, any blog post, any video, any image, any podcast episode you put out there for the first time is by definition stage 1. That's just how we define it. Okay. I recommend that you make your stage 1 stuff, meaning the first thing you put out there, as low energy investment for you as possible. So don't spend. I really disagree with the marketing experts that tell you to go create epic content, go create an amazing white paper, go create an amazing video series. Yes, later, but to give that advice in the beginning is not helping people, because that amazing or epic is stopping you from creating content. When you think, I got to create something epic or something amazing, no, you don't get to judge whether your content is amazing. That's another secret that I've discovered over, these years of creating content. Don't judge your own content. The only people who are allowed to judge your content is your audience. So stage 1 content is anything you put out there for the first time, any idea you put out for. All my videos are stage 1 because first time I kind of put it out there. Okay. So make it as prolific as possible. Make it as exploratory and as low energy investment for you. That's why I do it on my dog walk, my videos. I'm out there in the park anyway. I might as well pull out the phone and say something into the camera and then upload it for you. Okay, stage 1. Stage 2 is looking at the stage 1 content you've developed over the past week, month, quarter, and seeing which ones your audience liked the most. So the only way to move from stage 1 to stage 2 is to notice what your audience is loving the most. And then you edit that stage 1 piece. Okay. Out of the 10 pieces you created in the past month, you'll notice, oh, piece number 3 and number 7 were particularly liked and shared and are commented by my audience. Okay, great. Let me take those 2 pieces. Let me edit them again. Edit, if it's a piece of writing, you edit it and you reshare it to even a wider audience. Put it on your email newsletter now. Send it to some of your colleagues and referral partners. If it's a video that you put out, maybe you want to re-record the video. Or maybe it was a video and now you turn it into a blog post. Or it used to be a blog post in stage 1 and it did particularly well. Now turn it into a video. So stage 2 is edit or repurpose and then share even more widely. So you edit or repurpose. Repurpose meaning turn it from writing to video, or turn it from video to writing, or turn it from podcast episode to blog. You know what I mean? Repurpose means turn it into a different format because you know that it was worthwhile for people. Stage 2 is where you spend more effort. Make sense? Stage 2, you edit / repurpose plus redistribute. Distribute it more widely, put some dollars into boosting that post on Facebook, etc. Okay? And then stage 3 is where you integrate and monetize. And this is the answer to Jason's question. How do I get out of just one-to-one services? You make your content stage 3, and stage 3 is you basically take a bunch of some of your stage 2 content and maybe even some of your stage 1 and put it together into a book, an online course, a in-person retreat, an online workshop or whatever it may be. Everything I'm telling you today, all my workshops basically are stage 2 content and a few pieces of stage 1. So do you see what I mean? And do you see why I want you to create content as prolifically as possible? Because how will you ever move from stage 1 to stage 2 until you have enough of a buffet for your audience to tell you what they like? Okay? Think of stage 1 as just like when you go to a buffet, right? Does the chef look around and go, oh my God, I hope they like everything? No. The chef goes, oh, I've got 31 dishes here. I'm really curious which ones go faster today. You see what I mean? And you notice some buffet items are like no one ever touches it. Something makes me wonder, why do the chef keep making it, right? The chef needs to be you need to be a more wise chef to say, if nobody's touching that piece of content and nobody's liking that topic or nobody's liking the way you say it, maybe you should stop cooking it. Try another dish. Got it? So stage 1 is creating a buffet. Stage 2 is noticing which dishes people love the most, right? And stage 3 is tomorrow's buffet. Start a new, start a more fancy buffet and only have the best dishes from. You see what I mean? The best dishes that people love the most. When people are like, oh my God, this buffet is amazing. How do they know? I want everything here. Well, it's because she tested that, right? So, sorry I'm making anybody hungry there with the buffet metaphor, but so stage 3, the more prolifically you do stage 1, the more content you have to work with for stage 2, and therefore the more frequently you can create stage 3 things. Now, what I mean by stage 3 is I don't mean you got to think about, well, gosh, I got to look ahead and think, okay, got to look at the stage 3 right now. 6 months from now, I'm going to write a book, so therefore everything in that needs to be on one topic. No. So let me answer the question of someone saying, I have so many interests. How do I know what to create content on? Create content on everything. Everything. If you can't decide, make everything. Buffet, right? I can't decide. I'll have some, Chinese. I'll have some Italian food. I've been to the buffets where they do have everything. And then take notice on what does your audience think you cook the best for? Oh, they really think you do an amazing job with Italian food. Well, gosh, I thought my Chinese food was really good, but I guess nobody really likes it. You see? Don't cry. Don't be depressed. Celebrate that people liked your Italian food. Great. All right, I'll make more Italian. I'll figure out how to make it even better. Okay. And I'll make food that's similar to Italian food. I don't know what that is. Someone chat that in. Do you see what I mean? So because I have so much content now, I am able to do, 12 plus workshops a year, and I'm able to publish 2 books a year. I've got my next book coming out in March, and then my next book after that in August. I have just so much content. I just am just pumping out stage 3 pieces as well. But it's because I'm pumping out a lot of stage 1, a ton of stage 1, and then less of stage 2, and finally you've got the stage 3. That's how you free yourself from the one-to-one. Okay? And by the way, you're going to have, the more stage 3 pieces you put out there, you're going to have even more people want to work one-on-one with you. And at that point, you are welcome to raise your rates if you feel like you need to raise them, so that you can train the market to say, no, don't look to me for one-to-one unless you want to pay these rates. Look to me for my products, my informational products like books and courses, or look for me for my group programs. You'll have enough people contacting you for one-to-one, say, you know what, my rates are now, $500 an hour. And so, I don't recommend that for most people. So why don't you do my $100 a month group program or $50 a month group program instead? This comes from your content being prolific and relevant and authentic. The authentic part is actually really cool. I should say this because a lot of people think, I got to just, George, how do I make content that's good? Because look, so many people in my field have already created content, how-to content about this stuff. This is where your authenticity sets yourself apart. How many marketing content experts are there out there? You throw a rock and you'll hit 10 of them, okay? Don't throw rocks at us. But there are, if you think your industry is competitive, you haven't looked at my industry. Business coach consultants and marketing consultants, like we are, like everybody and their brother is, business consultant, right? So how do I set myself apart? The authenticity piece. And my authenticity is different from your authenticity, right? The way I'm authentic is a certain way. I've got my dog walk videos. I've got, my discussion, I bring in some spiritual principles or whatever, and that's how I make it authentic. Somebody else, another marketing person, will make themselves authentic in a different way. Maybe they're really funny and they're finally willing to bring their silliness and their humor into their content. Well, that's their authenticity. Another person is very really is into, I don't know, Star Trek, and so he is always mentioning Star Trek metaphors and I don't know. But your authenticity is what's going to set you apart, okay? And you will never run out of, you will never feel that you've got to emulate and copy somebody else, because you will be in your authentic self. I have a lot of content that's, if you strip out my authenticity, it's the same stuff everybody teaches, the same productivity advice, the same marketing advice. In fact, I consume tons of marketing and productivity advice, and I basically just take the best of what I learned and I turn it into use my own lens to talk about it, and I dish it to you. And you're like, wow, that's really different. No, it's not different. Or the reason why people like my content is because they recognize some of the stuff they've read out there, but they like the way I say it. And so same thing with you. You don't have to come up with anything unique. You just read everyone else's stuff and you just say it in your own way. You say it with your own values and with your own personality, and it's going to be authentic and unique, right? Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk about, okay, I'm going to give you just a few minutes to generate some content ideas. You've heard me talk about authentic, so that might give you some thoughts and some ideas there. You've heard me talk about relevant. Actually, I haven't talked enough about relevance. The best way to figure out what's relevant to your audience is to pay attention in your own client sessions and when you work with customers. How many of you currently are working regularly with clients or customers that you actually interact with on a one-to-one basis? Raise your hand. Okay, so there are a bunch of you. Starting today, I just encourage you to, in every single client or customer interaction, as more than 3 minutes or something, there is a content piece in there. Really. So pay attention to what questions your clients or customers are asking, what frustrations they're coming to you with, what curiosities they have, that they want you to give a perspective on, what stories that they are telling you about what's worked for them in the kind of stuff they do with you, or the product that they buy from you. And notice what current events that they are talking to you about that you have some perspective on. Okay, so that's what makes it relevant. Okay, so authentic. So I'm going to give you a few minutes right now, I mean, literally probably just 2 minutes for those of you who are live here, to chat in as many as you can, any ideas, no holds barred, content ideas that could work for you, okay, that are relevant for your audience and or authentic. Maybe just focus on relevance for now, because the authentic is basically just be yourself. So focus on relevance for now. Ready? Go ahead and chat that in. What questions, what curiosities do your ideal clients have? What current event is something happening in the world right now that's really relevant for them? What frustrations do they come to you with? What problems do you want to help them solve? What wins, W-I-N-S, what wins do they have with you? What stories do they tell you about what's working? Ready, set, go. Those of you watching this, pause the video, go ahead and comment below as many as you want, or put it in one comment, and then press unpause when you're ready. All right, amazing. There are more than 50 or 60 content ideas right there in the chat. Those of you who are watching the recording, be sure to click on the chat, the Zoom chat, and get inspired by all these ideas. How did it feel for those of you who are live here? How did it feel? Was it encouraging? Was it, give me your facial expression, or give me a thumbs up, middle, down? How was that? Okay. Yeah. So it's a practice. And what you've just done, and by the way, you can always come back to this part of the video where, 30 some minutes into the video, and try it again. Try the practice again. But I'll just name one or two, just because, I know it's Eric Bensoussan. He wrote, he's a healthy relationship coach, and a couple ideas. How to cope with anger. Yes. Why do I attract the same people in my relationships? Yeah. So great, right? Let's see here. Jason Schneider is an NLP expert. The levels of learning, how to integrate knowledge. Yeah, great. Jason Stein is a business coach, wellness business coach, and he wrote, including your family in your marketing. Cool. And that's particularly authentic for Jason, because he actually does that. And so he's showing, and that's another content idea for you. What do you do? What do you do to solve the problem, or achieve the goal, or to have the experience that you're trying to have, give to your clients, help facilitate for your clients or customers? Notice what you do and write about that. Speak about that. Okay. Shweta Parmar is an Ayurvedic practitioner, wrote, I'm doing all the right things, such as eating superfoods, doing, yoga, Reiki, etc. But I still feel shitty, right? So what do I, what's up with that, right? So Shweta, that's a very interesting topic to go on, for sure. So many. Keep going. If you're any other ideas, just keep going throughout. Don't let me stop you. Okay. So as you can see now, especially in a group like this, you are able to generate ideas very quickly. Now the challenge you're going to find is, how do you then take it to the next level? So my recommendation is 3 words for you: capture, categorize, calendar. Capture, categorize, calendar. Capture your ideas. I mean, we've captured them just by doing it in the chat, but you're going to get content ideas at random times during your day and your week. What do you do when those ideas come to you? Do you just say, I hope I remember them? I hope you don't do that. I hope you have a tool that you can trust to capture your ideas. It could be your smartphone. It could be a notebook that you keep with you, that's easy in easy reach. It could be, you use a voice memo on your phone, but you need a tool that you can reliably count on, that's with you a lot of the time, to capture it. Okay, so that's my first recommendation. The second stage, which is what a lot of people don't do, is to categorize them. Okay, so once a week, what I do is I plan my content for the following week, right? And so that's when I go and look at a bunch of the content ideas I've had recently, and I kind of categorize them. Okay, so that piece is going to be about joyful productivity. Oh, that piece is about healthy money. Oh, that piece is about authentic marketing, or whatever it may be. And to those of you who say, well, I have a million ideas, I could go in 100 different directions. That's okay. Don't get crazy with categorizing right now. Just kind of have a few major buckets. See if you can come up with a few topical overall topics. If you have, 10 areas of expertise, okay, 10 areas of expertise, see if you can boil that down to like 5 and, and make those your categories. 10 is actually probably okay too, but if you have like, well, I could talk about 50 different things, we'll try to boil it down to 10 or boil it down to 5, just like overall things, right? If you have like, 3 different schools of philosophy that you could talk about, we'll boil that down under philosophy, right? So that's categorize it. And then calendar it means you need to give yourself the time to create it. Now, I know some of you are probably resisting the thought of having to create on a schedule because that seems counterintuitive, but I will tell you that it has changed my life to be willing to say, could I possibly create on schedule? And I want you to say to yourself, it is possible. I'm infinitely, I can grow in infinite ways in my being, in my consciousness, right? And so it is possible for me to create on schedule. We have been given this life, these boundaries called linear time, because I think we're being taught to live on schedule in some way. We're being taught that what if I live on schedule? What happens as a result? Well, you'll find that if you are willing to live in schedule with your business, you tend to have a more reliable income. If your income is not steady and reliable, it's probably because your own activities are not steady and reliable. It's very strange, but very, very simple, but true equation. So if you are willing, now I'm not saying you got to do the right things on schedule, of course. And one of the right things is to create as much authentic, relevant content as you can, right? So if you are willing to do it on schedule, now the schedule, I leave you to figure that out. Maybe you're a morning person. Maybe you're a late night owl. I don't care when you do it. I just want you to do it at a consistent time. When you do it in a consistent time, you will train your brain. You could say that's the sort of the secular way of saying it. A more spiritual way of saying it is you will train your muse, your spirit guides, your angels, your muse will come to you at that time reliably. Otherwise, they're off doing something else. They're busy. You can't expect them suddenly show up at random times that you want them to. You can, but it's much more reliable when you say, no, it's going to be 7 to 9 a.m. every morning. That's when I'm creating content. And I'll tell you this, man, okay, so, you train your brain. That's the secular way of saying it. It's really true. Your brain will be primed at that time to say, well, it looks like I'm going to be creating content now. Okay, so please, even though you hate schedule and you rebel against deadlines, do me a favor and give it a try. Don't punish yourself. Now, what I do is I am strict about my schedule, but I am in flow when I show up. And I am gentle with myself with whatever results come out. Okay? Strict for showing up on time. Flow for whatever happens during that time, as long as you're creating, not whatever happens, oh, let me go surf Facebook, let me play a video game. No, whatever happens with that activity is totally fine. If you've scheduled for yourself to create content, be strict about showing up. And when you show up, let your fingers flow, let your self-talk flow. Whatever flow, creativity, intuition is perfectly fine. And then whatever results, publish it, okay? Post it. Be gentle, be forgiving. Let your audience tell you what they like. Don't judge yourself. The problem with a lot of you is that you are judging your results. You're strict about your results and you're too flow and lax about whether you show up. You see, it's the opposite of what I do. I'm strict about the fact that I show up and I'm totally lax about whatever results happen. But I make sure there are results. So if my post is crappy by 9 a.m., I post it anyway because I have a client call at 9 a.m. I don't have time to perfect it. There is no time to perfect it. And it is already perfect. No matter how crappy you think it is, it's perfect in the current snapshot of your beautiful life and your current experience and understanding and values and this moment in time. It's perfect. Click post, publish it, upload it. Okay. So if you follow the capture, categorize, calendar, you will be able to. Okay. So let me kind of share with you a bit about my process for doing video, because I know some of you are interested. And my process is basically, I do 3 new videos a week, every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The previous week, okay, I plan what those 3 videos are going to be. I don't do any detailed writing or planning. This is key. I only give myself 30 minutes to plan my content for the following week. 30 minutes, no more. So whatever I can do in that, remember, just show up and be gentle with whatever happens, as long as you're sticking with the activity. Don't go surf Facebook or whatever, okay? Be strict with what you're doing in that time, but be gentle with what results are. So I plan by just taking a few quick notes. I'll look at my recent content ideas. I might categorize some of them, okay? But I plan what those are. And then what I do is the time that I've scheduled to go do my videos, which is Friday afternoons, I go and do them, no matter how I feel. The video I just uploaded today, January 10th, go and watch that one. That was a 1-take video. I didn't feel like doing it. I said in the beginning, I didn't feel like doing this video because I had just eaten something that went down the wrong pipe a little bit, and 10 minutes ago before I came to the park, and I was still kind of trying to get it out. I mean, literally, it was like, and it was kind of dripping here and there because it was just raining recently, and it was still kind of drizzly. And it was literally the worst circumstance, not literally the worst, but it was not optimal. But I'm like, this is beautiful because this is the message I want to say. You show up no matter what. Show up no matter what. Okay. And then I make my 3 videos in Friday afternoon, and I don't have all the time. I don't have hours and hours to make my 3 videos because my wife is helping me walk the dog at that time in the park. I used to, back in 2015, 2016, when I did my dog walk videos, my wife and I hadn't synced our schedules yet. So I actually had to pay attention to the dog. That's why my dog showed up more often in my 2015, 2016 videos, because I had to like pay attention there. And I had to sometimes do multiple takes so the dog ran off to do something bad. But now it's like, I have, 45 minutes with my wife. I got to make 3 videos, get to it, And so I try to do as many takes as I can in those 45 minutes, but I got to stop at 45. So I just limit myself. I try to limit myself to about 15 minutes per video, so that hopefully it gives me 3 takes. Sometimes it's only 1 take, but usually 2 to 3 takes is good. If you see yourself doing more than 5 takes, you got to stop. This is stage 1 content, guys. Don't do more than 5 takes. The 5th take, you're done. Choose one of the 5 and upload it, okay? Stage 1, it's a buffet. You have no idea which ones they're gonna like. You really, really don't. You'll surprise yourself. So after I make the videos on Friday afternoons, what I do is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. is when I write the blog post associated with that video. So you can kind of say my blog posts are kind of like my stage 1.5, because I've already had a couple of days of sleeping on the ideas, because Friday afternoon, I talked it out, right? Monday, I'm making 1 blog post associated with 1 video. Wednesday, I'm doing that. And from 7 to 9 a.m., I don't take 2 hours. I actually have, between that time, I take a 20-minute nap, or I prepare breakfast, I eat breakfast, I take a 20-minute nap, and I even look at my calendar for the day to see if there's anything I need to pay attention to. So I do my morning review, basically. So from 7 to 9 a.m., I do all those things. So my content writing is about an hour long, an hour and 20 minutes in terms of content writing and posting. But what I do, as you notice, is I give myself a lot of little breaks. I call them frequent creative breaks, because I notice I sit down, I write for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I make myself get up. I don't make myself get up because I'm so used to it now, but I got to go make breakfast now. So that gives myself a break. You'll notice if you move your body, you tend to move your brain. So if you are ever stuck on an idea, okay, it's time to get unstuck physically. and then you'll go make some tea, go for a walk, go and, do a household putter around or whatever. And you'll find that when you come back, you've got a fresh brain moving around on some ideas here. So that's what I do. Write for 20, 30 minutes, go make breakfast, come back and eat breakfast in front of the computer as I'm writing more. I'm like, oh, I have a new perspective even after making breakfast for 5 minutes. Okay, new perspective, keep going. And then finish writing the draft, go take a nap because I get sleepy after breakfast, 20 minutes, wake up with a new perspective, do a quick edit, and then post it. That's my 7 to 9 a.m. Okay. So, all right, now here is what I want you to do. Oh, one more thing I'll say. I don't use a selfie stick because I lost both of my selfie sticks. I don't use them. Most of my 400 videos haven't used selfie sticks. The most important thing I can tell you about video is to practice looking at the camera lens. I am looking at the camera lens right now. It looks like I'm looking into your eyes. Now I'm looking at myself. You can tell I'm not looking at you. You don't feel as connected. I'm looking at myself. This is the main problem people have making videos is they just, it's natural. We are human beings. We like to look at ourselves. We like to make sure we don't look, bad or whatever. Okay. So I'm looking at myself now. I am not looking at myself now. I'm just trusting that I look fine. And I'm looking at the camera lens, pretending that that's you. That is the most important thing you need to know. You need to figure out on your phone, if you're recording with I record it on my phone, my videos, where the camera lens is. Don't look at the screen where you are. Look at the camera, practice that as many as times as you can until it becomes normal for you to pretend that camera lens is the heart and soul and attention of your audience, if your ideal client. If you think, you can even think of your ideal client, somebody maybe you already know in your life for whom you can do no wrong, who is so supportive of you. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a real client. But think of somebody who's so supportive of you, just unconditionally loving of you, and would encourage you to make content, okay? Look at that. Think of that person when you look at the lens. That's them. That's their ears and their eyes and their heart, okay? If you do that, you're going to make better videos than most people. And with that visualization of who you're talking to and with that lens attention, okay? All right, let's talk about your rhythm for creating content. I've talked about capture, categorize, and calendar, but how often do you make content? I've said make it as often as you can, okay? But what does that mean for you practically? What is your rhythm going to be? I've told you what my rhythm is. What about yours? So I'm going to pause the recording right now and allow you to chat in there. What rhythm do you commit to? Now, let me give you a couple of guidelines. If you are willing to give yourself 30 minutes a day to create stage 1, casual, prolific, exploratory content, that may be enough time, 30 minutes a day. And if you are willing and able to do a daily thing, now daily can mean you take the weekends off and you take holidays off, that's perfectly fine. I started my content rhythm in 2015. I really started content in 2014, but I didn't really commit to doing a regular rhythm until 2015, where I did 5 a week. So Monday through Friday, whatever came out during the dog walk. Remember, I show up. Well, I have to show up for the dog walk. I have to. Otherwise, Buddy's going to be mad. So I had to go to the park anyway, right? And then I'm loose with whatever comes out into the recording afterwards. I just upload it. I'm gentle and forgiving with myself. I let my audience tell me what they like. Monday through Friday, I grew the fastest doing daily content. And you'll notice that the same. You will grow the fastest by writing every day, by making videos every day. I will tell you, your business is going to be more thriving after you write 100 blog posts or make 100 videos in a row than today. I guarantee you, okay? Especially if you think about authentic, relevant, okay? Am I being authentic? Am I paying attention to my audience and tweaking my content to become more relevant? I will give you a refund of this workshop if after you've created 100 pieces. Now you can ask me for a refund anytime within 30 days of the end of this series. I've already promised that, but I'm just saying, I guarantee you that your business is going to be better. And not only, why would your business be better? A couple of reasons. You are better after those 100 pieces. You are going to be smarter. Miraculously, you're going to feel more confident. You don't become confident and then make content. You make content and then you become confident. You don't get inspired and then make content. You press record and then you find yourself becoming inspired. You start typing and then you find yourself becoming inspired by the end of the first page of typing whatever, okay? Confidence, inspiration, motivation, wisdom, that comes after you start and you get to the end of the first page. After you get to the end of the first 5 minutes, the first take, then you go, wait, I know I can think of a better way of saying that now, okay? So you will be better at the end of the 100 content pieces, and your business will be better because people notice, like, who is, wow, Joanne, I'm seeing her, with her expertise all the time. It's amazing, right? So it's okay. So what is your rhythm going to be? I'm going to pause and let you write what you are going to commit to, showing up, making sure, just look at your calendar. Don't overstretch yourself. So you either do a daily rhythm. That's the simplest decision. Am I going to do daily? 30 to 60 minutes. Can I carve out realistically? Can I carve out 30 to 60 minutes a day? If I cannot, then do a weekly show. Weekly show, meaning if it's going to be weekly rhythm, announce it to your audience. I'm going to post a blog post on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Tell your audience when to expect it. Make it a show. Even if it's a blog post, make your audience know when you're going to show up so that you then have the 2 to 3 hours during that week to make sure you click post and publish at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays or whatever time makes sense to you. Okay? Go ahead and chat that in right now. Wonderful. Given that we are coming at the end of our hour, I want to respect everybody's time. So if you're not yet finished chatting, please go ahead and chat that in. I am going to give you a document where you can go and find some accountability if you'd like. So chat/accountability document. This is in, those of you who are watching the recording, look at my email and look for the chat/accountability document link. If you go there, you will be able to introduce yourself a little bit and say, just so that we're clear here, if you want some accountability, like an accountability buddies. Now, those of you who are in my group coaching program, Master Heart, you can find accountability there, and you don't have to overdo the accountability thing. But if you need an accountability buddy, you can chat your introduction in that document and say, I'd love to meet with an accountability buddy, every Monday through Friday, every morning or text each other to say, hey, I'm going to start my content now, or whatever it may be. Okay. I will put in the replay notes, I will put a link to a blog post I have about how you might want to structure your accountability, or I'll write that out in my replay notes and in the chat document. So that'll be helpful. Okay. So, one more thing I want to say about white belt content is some of you might think, gosh, it's hard for me I feel like I have to give a complete thought. I can't give a complete thought in 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Every time I start writing, I feel like it's going to be a tome. How do I? Okay. Think of your content in layers of content. Okay. Your complete thought is this ball. And maybe some of your audience are going to be very satisfied just with the outer layer of the ball, just with the outer. They can't take more than that. And sometimes you want to talk about something in the inner layer, but just that layer. Don't go further out, further in. Just that layer is fine. Trust yourself to say, if I just talk about this layer, it's going to be enough. And over time, that's my encouragement to you right now. Trust yourself. It's going to be enough. Keep it to 3 to 5 minutes for a video. By the way, videos, don't hold yourself back. If you end up talking for 15 minutes, that's fine. Interesting little statistic. The YouTube videos with the guests with the most, the YouTube videos that do the best in the search results for any keyword are 14 minutes and 51 seconds, something like just about 15 minutes is the optimal time for a YouTube video. I don't think that's true with Facebook necessarily. That tends to be shorter. But in other words, short videos have a great audience, and so do longer videos. Don't let the length. Same thing with blog posts. 300-word blog posts, 100-word blog posts have a great audience, and so do 1,500-word blog posts. Do not let the length, okay, deter you, whether it's too short, too long. I don't care. Just do it. Just show up and just click publish by by the time so that you don't drag on the process. Remember this, the last thing I'll say is the consistency of your authentic and relevant content will turn into the consistency of your income as well, for your authentic business. Authentic, relevant, consistent content will turn into income if you follow the 3 stages of 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. Now, this workshop series is going to continue for 2 more sessions. And there's also a bonus Q&A call at the end of each month. You can basically have 3 bonus Q&A calls for signing up for this one workshop. So at the final, the 4th Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific, I have an hour of bonus Q&A. That's the same every month for anybody who's come to my workshops in the previous 3 months. So that's how that works. So our next session is going to be in a month. Why is our next session for this series in a month? Anyone guess? It's because we're going to talk about stage 2 content at that point. And I want you to have enough stage 1 pieces for us to talk about, for us to analyze what the stats are. So from now until the next session, I want you to create as much content as possible. Question, should you write? Should you do videos? Should you do podcasts? Pick one. Pick the one that you like the best. You can have a thriving audience and business doing either text, video, or audio. Just choose one. Is it going to be writing? Is it going to be video? Is it going to be podcast? If you're not sure you could do any of them, I would rank it in order of video, text, and podcast. That's how I rank it in terms of marketing power. Podcasts, yes, you're in people's ear, but it's really hard for them to take action. If any of you who have had a podcast, it's very hard for them to take action going from an offline podcast to taking action, joining your email list or whatever. Much, much easier with text or video, okay? Video is the best if you can possibly do it. If you're too shy on video, don't worry, just start writing. And then eventually you can repurpose your best pieces into video. Even have someone else do the video, even have some animator do a video. It doesn't matter, just get started, okay? So I will see you here either in our bonus Q&A call or in our next session with as much content as you can create in the next couple of weeks. And I look forward to seeing you then. Was that helpful? Just going to give a quick sense for those of you who are here live. Okay. Do you feel equipped to kind of take it to the next step and start creating content? Some of you are giving me a look. Okay. So any questions you have, go ahead and you can email me, and I will be sure to include the answers. Maybe I have a video that I can send to you, or I will include the answers in the next session or in the bonus Q&A call. And if I can quickly answer, I'll do it over email as well. Blessings to you. Go forth. Enjoy the process. Remember to just be creative and in the flow. As long as you show up on time and publish on time, you can be as much flow and be as gentle with yourself with the results as possible. Take care. I can't wait to see what you create in your content and in yourself and in your business as a result. Bye, everyone. I'll just unmute so that you can all hear each other's voice as we leave.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Ruth.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.